So all-out war has begun in Fire Force. As soon as we got met with the evangelist faction and or force, whatever you want to call them, task force faction, I knew this moment had to come. At least I thought it was going to come. I was hoping it was going to come. And now we're there. The city's in peril. It's in chaos. It's in the worst chaos probably since the Great Fire, right? And, I left this episode, whenever it ended, I left it thinking to myself, wow, was that scene of Shinra and the headband from the evangelist going through the building amazing. It reminded me of the scene to where like Bakugo is flying through the air in season 3 of My Hero Academia with that great animation, and they grab onto Deku and Todoroki and all of them, and they're flying through the air, right? And I love the fact that it kind of was like that scene, but then they added that whole art that you kind of shift in the art style. You see the way they're tumbling through the building. It was all just so awesome to see. It's almost like that everything just kind of like you see those moments where like it seems like everything is just being animated. Even the building itself is slightly moving. It feels like, right? And it's just part of that weight distribution and just that whole art style change. They make everything look like it's totally different. And almost, those scenes almost look like the rough draft of the art and animation prior to those scenes being actually released. I think that stuff is so cool from an art, from an aesthetic standpoint, but I also think it's so cool and so amazing from an animation standpoint. So that was awesome. But hopping into like more towards the beginning of the episode and getting into kind of like a chronological shift here, or going into towards a chronological order here, excuse me. The first scene where we're having Vulcan's technology, kind of put out there, displayed again indirectly, of course. It just shows you once again how valuable Vulcan is. If Vulcan's not here, they don't find Hamiya and get Arthur over there to combat her and allow her not to send out these signals and orchestrate what command and lead, right? Because we know she uses brainwaves and signals in order to do that. And if not for him, they don't disrupt that. And this team of evangelists is just going to run amok, and they already are. The Fire Force is already on their heels, so it really does add value to his character, and I love it. He's not the strongest, but sometimes it is mind over matter, and that's huge because all these things go hand in hand in order to get the job done. And I think that's something that Fire Force does a great job of that many other anime fail at. They don't have structure. They don't have organization. It's a battle of who is just stronger in raw power. And look, the biggest theme in Shinra's fight right now is the fact that he's not pure, he doesn't have pure power. He uses the momentum of his fighting capabilities and speed that he uses in order to kind of get power. His speed, the way he flings around, the way he's able to rotate, he uses momentum and speed to translate into power. And now we see it looks like next episode he's going to be doing something different. But I'm just, kind of skipped into that because it just goes to show how everything is just really organized. There's a meaning, there's detail, there's depth, and that matters. It's not always about who's just pure power, more powerful. It shouldn't. Attributes versus attributes. Here's a list of them. Let's see who can make this work. I like fighting scenes like that. But also at the same time, let's talk about Inka, because Inka's a girl that's really lost her damn mind. She's someone who's so psychologically kind of torn. And, you look at that Great Fire and you could tell that she was scared, right? She even kind of said she was scared until she could see the fire, those little lines, and those lines determined where the next flame and or fire, was going to appear. So up until that point where she magically got that ability, she was scared, obviously. And through that terror and or fear, her Adola burst activated, of course. And her character is really messed up. She's really kind of, forgot who she was before she got that power. And Shinra even kind of, shits on her statement in a sense. Because she says something along the lines of, no, don't save me. I don't want you to save me. I don't want you to come near me, because all you do is save people and you allow them to be incompetent. You allow them to be, dependent rather than independent. And at the same time, you got to ask yourself, well, not everyone was born with an ability. get over yourself, Inka. Like, why do you think you're some big shot because you got your ability? And that's what Shinra harped on immediately. Shinra had a great response because what she said, she wasn't wrong. Yeah, the more you just keep saving people, the more dependent they're going to be on you. The less independent thinkers there will be because they'll be like, oh, the Fire Force should be coming. Oh, the Fire Force should be coming. Well, here's the thing. Dependence is not a bad thing if dependence is a necessity, if dependence is of abundance, because a lot of these people, they're not trained fighters. They don't want to be trained fighters. That's not how they wanted to live your life. And Inca, you had no powers. You had nothing. You were one of those people until you got powers. So you're being a hypocrite. And you're also contradicting yourself because you were that same dependent type of person up until you got a power. You're not special anymore. Yeah, you are special because you got the Dola burst. I guess I take that back. But at the same time, there's people who are far beyond you. I mean, so you're nothing special. Let's stop with that. And I think Shinra's response was a great response because that's indirectly or through the subtext was kind of what she's trying to imply. Now, looking at other things that did actually go on this episode, and a character that I do actually want to focus on because she the poor girl, Tamaki. Tamaki is a character that was literally in the vehicle last episode, as I iterated last review in a reaction. And they didn't even show her character. They literally only showed the outline of her character when they all went, at the end of episode 3, and it showed black outlines of who was in the squad for whatever reason. It didn't even show her character in the vehicle, and it was a 2-minute scene. And they finally show her this episode, and we found out she's partially a nun. Makes sense. She's from Squad 1. At the same time, we find out that her Lucky Leech is acting up again. And the fan services episode was the longest sequence of fan service I've seen. This show does not really focus on fan service at all. It's there, but it's there in a very it's almost like they're censoring the censorship, the shower scenes to where you can't even see anything at all. It's so foggy. We have the scenes to where her Lucky Leisure thing activates, and it's just hey, here's your fan service because we have to. See it. Now there's no more fan service. it doesn't focus on it. And it did this episode. And I did like the dialogue nonetheless that covered that. Because Tamaki's fan service is really... I really kind of want to say it's bad because it's just so what the hell. But at the same time, they do a good job of not, of censoring it down and or making comedic one-liners. The whole comedic skit today with Vulcan and Lieutenant Hinawa. That was a good scene. That's how it should be. And then we have other shows that don't do that. This show lets you know, we're aware that we just threw a fan service moment in there. We're not that, but yet we have it. Fan service is in anime. It's just a common cliche that happened. And I like the way Fire Force does always handle itself. This scene, if this scene of length, if this fan service scene today happened multiple times in Fire Force, that would be kind of annoying, I think, in a sense, because I don't necessarily think the way they display the fan service in Fire Force is good, but I think the way they commentate it or narrate it is actually really good, really funny. I think it really makes the scenes good. But at the same time, we barely ever get those scenes in this anime. This is just one of those animes that doesn't focus on that. It knows what it is. It wants to focus on the action. And it's almost like an editor said, hey, we need that one scene of fan service author, because it's almost as if the author, the way in which he's written the show, doesn't even care for it. But other than that, though, back to Shinra. Let's talk about Shinra one more time here, because we need to talk about that ending fighting scene. And this is something that's interesting, and I don't know. I just didn't think of them going this route, and I did not see the foreshadowing to where, Shinra's training with Benny, and we see him make that other hand sign, and we really see, the fire and or flames coming out of Shinra's feet. Well, that wasn't the right one, so we used a different hand sign, which is more focused on speed, and then we see Shinra got that new technique to where, I can't even remember what he calls that technique, but to where he moves in the blink, the speed of light. So we see that technique, and now we're seeing another hand sign that was actually showcased. And looking at my notes, actually, that is a Tenokata, I believe it was, and it was the form of Korna, and that's the rock-on symbol, as to where we see him in the OVA, not OVA, but the preview, doing a two-handed signal. And that two-handed signal is actually going to be a mix of speed and power. And once again, reiterating what I said earlier, look, they're combining speed and power. That speed wasn't enough power, so now he needs an ability that has raw power, and he's combining them. The show has depth in its fight scenes, and that's what shows should do. It's just that simple. That's what shows should do. And I like the show for that. I respect the show for that. And I think the show is like just after this season so far, just give me quality content as good as this. And I think this show is an A- for me for sure. It's at a solid B plus. I never knew why. I just kept it there. I just felt like it's missing maybe a little slightly something to put it A-. But I think it's a show that is right in the middle of a B plus and an A-. And I think the show will only shift into the A rankings for me because for a shonen, what it is, it's adding depth with fight scenes. Most shonen don't do that. Attack on Titan does. Naruto did. A show like My Hero Academia does it greatly. But name like 4 more shonens that do have organized fights that involve legitimate strategy and thought out strategy. I mean, just think about some of the fights that Shinra's fought in the past, like whenever he's fighting Rekka and he's using the setting, the environment to help propel himself to move even faster than what he typically could before he got these abilities. Take a look at when we're going into like the Benny, the Squad 7 arc when they're in Benny's area and he's getting shot at or sniped at by the girl that shoots flaming arrows, and he's basically saying, "Oh, is she shooting these arrows in this amount of time? This separate amount of time, and the arrows are changing a distance and are coming from a distance of 500 feet apart each time. Then that means she's moving in this formation, and she has to be moving kind of at this kind of speed. Like all those things. Shinra's a smart character, and they use his instinctive fighting kind of awareness to help propel the character, and I like that. So." But yeah, other than that, we found out that there are going to be 8 pillars apparently that need to be collected, and that was really the end of the episode. So with that being said, though, guys, I got to hurry up and get to the Rent-A-Girlfriend reaction or review. Be sure to check that out very soon. Within the next 2 hours, it should be out. Hopefully the next hour and a half. So other than that, though, guys, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, X25. See you guys next time. Peace. Thanks for watching, guys. What was that? I said... All right. See you guys next time. Peace. Thanks for watching, guys. So much.